Legend Hulk Hogan has died at 71 years old. Correspondent Jeff Paul. Hulk Hogan has died at 71 years old. Correspondent Jeff Paul is live with more on this, Jeff.
Yeah, Harrison, again, TMZ Sports reporting wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died at the age of 71 years old. This is coming through just a few minutes ago about the death of this wrestling legend that really transcended the sport, really put WWF and eventually WWE on the map. Now, medics were reportedly dispatched to Hulk Hogan's Clearwater home early Thursday morning, with operators reportedly stating that he was in cardiac arrest. TMZ also reporting that a slew of police cars and EMTs were parked outside of Hogan's home, reportedly stating that he was in cardiac arrest. TMZ also reporting that a slew of police cars and EMTs were parked outside of Hogan's home, and the icon, as they put it, was carried on a stretcher and into an ambulance. Just a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife, according to TMZ, denied rumors that he was in a coma, and the icon, as they put it, was carried, reportedly stating that he was in cardiac arrest. TMZ also reporting that a slew of police cars and EMTs were parked outside of Hogan's home, and the icon, as they put it, was carried on a stretcher and into an ambulance. Just a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife, according to TMZ, denied rumors that he was in a coma, stating that his heart was strong as he recovered from some surgeries. But certainly there have been some rumors about his declining health in recent weeks. He was born Terry Gene Bollea in Augusta, Georgia. And again, it's really hard to put to words what he meant to sports, to celebrity, his signature blonde hair, his ripping of his shirt before a match. Truly one of the legends of the sports world and of the wrestling world. And we'll wait to hear more confirmation. But right now, again, TMZ reporting that Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71.
Jeff Paul, thank you for getting us at least a little bit more information about this. Not just a wrestling legend, but also an entertainer. Jeff Paul, thank you for getting us at least a little bit more information about this. Not just a wrestling legend, but also in entertainment. And even as of late, Jeff Paul, thank you for getting us at least a little bit more information about this. Not just a wrestling legend, but also in entertainment. And even as of late, politics. Let's bring in Lauren Conlon now, entertainment reporter. And we were watching a Trump rally from last election season. And also he was at the convention as well. I mean, he was so beloved. Lauren, you're with me now. In the entertainment world, though, this is an earthquake.
Yes. I mean, Harris, I do not know what is happening this week. We are losing so many wonderful people. And one of Hulk Hogan's last tweets in the last few months was, quote, "Every day I'm reminded that God is good." Always say so many wonderful people. And one of Hulk Hogan's last tweets in the last few months was, quote, "Every day I'm reminded that God is good. Always thankful, HH." And, you know, I grew up watching wrestling. I grew up watching him on his last few months was, quote, "Every day I'm reminded that God is good. Always thankful, HH." And, you know, I grew up watching wrestling. I grew up watching him on his reality show, Hogan Knows Best. I mean, he is inarguably one of the most important and influential figures in the history of professional wrestling. I think there was this big legendary main event against Andre the Giant in WrestleMania, and it was the biggest crowd they ever had. There was almost 100 professional wrestling. I think there was this big legendary main event against Andre the Giant in WrestleMania, and it was the biggest crowd they ever had. There was almost 100,000 fans at the Pontiac Silverdome. I mean, he was so popular. This was an event that was talked about for years to come. He was also a devoted father. I know that he and his wife, you know, they split, they had their issues, but he was an avid Trump supporter, very vocal, unapologetic, and again, he is going to be missed by so many. That he and his wife, you know, they split, they had their issues, but he was an avid Trump supporter, very vocal, unapologetic, and again, he is going to be missed by so many.
So many today. I remember standing on the floor of the RNC convention last year, and people were shouting, he was everyone's friend. Like, he remembered people's names in the audience. I mean, it was really, really remarkable, the connection that every age group had with Hulk Hogan. Your last quick thought.
Yeah, no, you are exactly right. I mean, he was a television dad to me as well. He was not just a wrestler. And so watching him with his children, it was just so wonderful. And my heart goes out to them. I will be praying for his family.
Lauren.
Partner NBC News, and it is that the wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died. He was 71 years old and died of a suspected cardiac arrest at his home in Florida. Hulk Hogan, a very famous name in wrestling and in world wrestling entertainment, WWE, transformed in many ways wrestling from a kind of niche sport into a major family entertainment. And he was very well known for his theatrics and was in so many ways a big personality. Let's cross live to Washington and our US correspondent, David Blevins. And, Hulk Hogan, a real wrestling legend.
Yes, indeed. Hulk Hogan had been unwell, we understand, for some weeks, Mark. He underwent major heart surgery back in June, we understand. The emergency services were called to his home at Clearwater, Florida this morning, where he is indeed reported to have died as a result of cardiac arrest. Terry Gene Bollea, as he was born in the state of Georgia, reinvented himself really as Hulk Hogan and became an American icon, personifying that larger-than-life patriotic hero during the Reagan years. He made his name, of course, as a professional wrestler, began his career in 1977, but gained worldwide recognition really from 1983 after signing with what was then the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, now Worldwide Wrestling Entertainment. In fact, he was 5 times WWE champion. His 1,474-day reign as champion, the longest in that organization's history. He also holds American television records for wrestling. A staggering 33 million viewers watched one of his fights and remained until the time of his death a brand ambassador for WWE World Wrestling Entertainment. In 1993, he gave up wrestling to pursue a career in film and television. You may remember he had quite the acting career, starring in Rocky III, in No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando, and Mr. Nanny. And some of his television shows included Hogan Knows Best and Hulk Hogan's Main Event. There were several attempts to make a wrestling comeback, none of them particularly successful. And then a departure of sorts, I suppose, into politics, because you may remember that he very famously endorsed the Republican candidate Donald Trump for the White House, famously ripping his shirt from his chest at last year's Republican National Convention. So I am sure we will hear some words of tribute from the US president in due course. But our colleagues at NBC have now confirmed the very sad news that Hulk Hogan, a wrestling legend, an American icon, a man who really represented all things patriotic about this nation, has died at the age of 71.
Just looking here at the Newswires and saying that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame, in 2005 by Sylvester Stallone. And as you say, he transformed wrestling in many ways, turned it into a real sort of cultural powerhouse, I guess, thanks to cable TV in the United States. And then, as you say, there was this fascinating relationship at the end with Donald Trump, where he used to appear at so many of his rallies.
Yes, and we've often reflected on how when Donald Trump talks about America returning to a golden era, it really is an attempt to turn back the clock to those days of the 80s and 90s, those Reagan years, really, when there was so much emphasis on American heroism, on patriotic stances. And that's why I suppose Hulk Hogan was the most best suited candidate to step into the role of being a representative of that era. And it would explain why Donald Trump and his campaign frequently invited Hulk Hogan to appear at his campaign rallies, why he stepped onto the stage last year at the Republican National Convention when Donald Trump, just a few days after he himself had survived that assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, was officially endorsed as the Republican candidate at the beginning of his journey back to that remarkable comeback of his own into the White House. He was very, very glad to have the endorsement of a man who had been able to capture television audiences both in the ring and in movies and through his own television shows for many years. And he will be greatly saddened, I'm sure, by this news. We haven't heard anything from the White House at this stage, but in due course, I'm sure we will, because some would quite rightly argue that Hulk Hogan was able to bring his supporters on board behind Donald Trump as he ran. Of course, I'm sure we will, because some would quite rightly argue that Hulk Hogan was able to bring his supporters on board behind Donald Trump as he ran. Of course, I'm sure we will, because some would quite rightly argue that Hulk Hogan was able to bring his supporters on board behind Donald Trump as he ran for the White House, because he himself had established his presence as an American icon, as a symbol of patriotism right through the 80s, 90s, noughties until the time of his death.
Last few minutes that the professional wrestling and entertainment star Hulk Hogan has died in the US. Just information coming from WWE in the last little while confirming that news, and news also about some of the details. We're also hearing that medics were dispatched to the 71-year-old WWE legend's home earlier today, with operators stating that it was regarding, quote, a cardiac arrest. Now, Hulk Hogan transformed professional wrestling into family entertainment. Before him, of course, wrestling was pretty much a fairly narrow audience. Hulk's theatrics, though, in the ring was absolutely magnetic for children, for parents, and it supercharged the sport. He then created the NWO in 1996, the New World Order, and became Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and that propelled him in terms of professional wrestling to even more fame. But news coming in, and WWE confirming it, news that 71-year-old wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died there in the US.
Hulk Hogan has died. We're following some breaking news now. Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died. His manager told NBC Los Angeles that Hogan died surrounded by his family in Clearwater, Florida this morning. He was 71 years old.
Hogan, whose real name was Terry Gene Bollea, rose to pro wrestling fame in the 1980s and 90s, facing everyone from Andre the Giant to The Rock. He won several WWE championships and really expanded his celebrity status with the VH1 reality show Hogan Knows Best. Joining us now with the details is Morning News Now anchor Joe Fryer. Joe, I also know that you are a WWE fanatic.
Yes, exactly.
So you really understand not only his life, but his legacy.
Yeah, exactly. And I became a huge fan in the 80s when Hulk Hogan was the biggest deal. And that is a huge part of his legacy. Up until Hulk Hogan, wrestling was a thing that some people liked. It was more of like a regional thing. Everyone had their little regional league that they'd watch. Hulk Hogan made it a national mainstream thing. And he got families involved in it. He got kids involved in it. He had his catchphrase where he would say, kids, you need to say your prayers. You need to take your vitamins. WWE just confirmed the news saying, it's sad to learn that the Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has passed away. One of pop culture's most recognizable figures. He helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extended condolences to Hogan's family, his friends, and his fans. He was not immune from controversy throughout his life. It was about 10 years ago that he was secretly recorded making some racist comments. He was actually removed from the WWE Hall of Fame at that time. But he also sued Gawker, who published those comments, and won a huge lawsuit against Gawker at that time. Eventually, WWE did put him back in the Hall of Fame about 5 years ago. And as you mentioned, he was in movies. He was in Rocky III. He was in another movie called No Holds Barred, Mr. Nanny. And then, like so many celebrities we know of these days, introduced to a new generation through reality TV, this time a reality show on VH1 called Hogan Knows Best.
That's right. You know, he really was a household name. You didn't have to be a super fan to know who Hulk Hogan was and to grow up with him as we did. There were some rumors that began swirling about, this time last month about his health. He's 71 years old. What more do we know?
We have not learned anything specific yet officially about how it is that he passed away. There were those rumors that people said he was on his deathbed. People close to him denied those rumors. So we're still waiting on more official word. He lived in Florida. But beyond that, we don't know what his health status has been. But he has, like so many people who are in the wrestling industry, has had pretty much every surgery you can possibly those rumors. So we're still waiting on more official word. He lived in Florida. But beyond that, we don't know what his health status has been. But he has, like so many people who are in the wrestling industry, has had pretty much every surgery you can possibly imagine throughout your. But beyond that, we don't know what his health status has been. But he has, like so many people who are in the wrestling industry, has had pretty much every surgery you can possibly imagine throughout your career. Yeah. We'll wait and see more information regarding exactly how it was he passed away.
Joe, it's interesting that, a lot of the country got to know him, as you mentioned. The younger generations were reintroduced to him through reality television. Tell us more about his family and who he leaves behind.
Yeah, well, so he is married. I apologize, I don't know his wife's name off of hand, but kids over the years, all of which who were, part of that reality show that he was a part of as well. And the other thing that people have gotten to know him over the last few years is politics. He was not shy about his support for President Donald Trump, one of those prime speaking slots, and he gave a very impassioned speech. He was, of course, known for ripping that T-shirt apart. And some people would argue that, of course, is one of the many celebrity endorsements that did give at least President Donald Trump a boost during last year's election.
Sure. And he was 71 years old.
Yes, 71 years old.
All right, Joe Fryer for us. Joe, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. We will keep you updated on this story as it develops on NBC News Daily. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app.
Died. Medics were sent. Breaking news to report. TMZ is reporting that Hulk Hogan has died. Medics were sent to the 71-year-old former wrestler's Florida home for a cardiac arrest call. Details are still coming in. Hogan became the face of the WWE in the 1980s and helped launch the sport into the mainstream and became a star with his Hulkamania act. We're going to have much more later in the show with more details. Again, TMZ is reporting that Hulk Hogan has passed away at 71.
Yeah, someone who really transcended even the sport of wrestling, became a giant pop culture figure.
An icon,
for generations of fans, right? And introduced to wrestling to many people.
He did.
He even had a little action figure that was made for him, and then recently
the shirt,
right? The reality show he had.
Reality show, which we really got to know him during that reality show on MTV with his wife Linda, his daughter Brooke, his son Nick.
Yeah.
Very open with the family, on for many seasons.
Yeah, and then very recently during the Trump campaign, during the campaigning, he was very involved with that. And I was just curious, just because this announcement came so suddenly, and I just remembered that he had recently inked a deal with Fox to bring some wrestling to Fox Nation as well. So he was still working on things and still out and about. So just so sad to hear.
Sad to hear this news, and this week has just been very sad.
Yeah.
With Ozzy, Malcolm Jamal.
Warner, yeah.
This is another sad death to report.
We'll stay on top of that, and as soon as we learn more information about the passing of Hulk Hogan, we will bring that to you.